After nearly 65 years of brotherly ties with Cuba, North Korea has a new rival for Havana's diplomatic affections: South Korea. Seen as a surprise announcement by the South Korean side, North Korea will likely have been shocked by the news that Seoul has finally been able to establish diplomatic relations with Cuba, having worked to normalize ties with Havana for over 20 years. The South confirmed the breakthrough after representatives from the two countries exchanged diplomatic notes in New York. Although Cuba officially recognized South Korea in 1949, shortly after the division of the Koreas and just before the Korean War, bilateral exchanges were effectively severed after late Cuban leader Fidel-Castro seized power in 1959. In the 1960s, Havana started to forge brotherly ties with North Korea as they became Cold War allies. Castro developed a close relationship with North Korea's late founder Kim Il-sung, the legacy of which was felt when the North observed 3 days of mourning when Castro died in 2016. He was described as a comrade in arms by current North Korean leader Kim-Jong-un, who welcomed Cuban President Miguel-Diaz-Canel for a summit in North Korea in 2018. That first visit to the North by a Cuban president since 1986 saw Kim underscore their strategic and comradely friendship as they stood in solidarity against global sanctions. So, South Korean analysts see the dawn of official relations between Seoul and Havana, still under the leadership of Diaz-Canel, as a blow to Pyongyang's efforts to escape diplomatic and economic isolation through relationships with like-minded nations, especially as North Korea's leader Kim just recently branded the South as his country's primary foe. And now, Syria is the only remaining UN member state not to have diplomatic ties with Seoul. But there have been signs. In 1999, South Korea would have gained some favor in Havana by supporting a UN General Assembly resolution on the need to end a trade embargo against Cuba. Years later, 2016 marked the first visit to Cuba by a South Korean foreign minister. The influence of soft power may also have laid deeper roots when the 2018 South Korean drama Encounter was partly shot in Cuba, where the main characters meet. Pre-pandemic, about 14,000 South Koreans were visiting Cuba each year. And while in Cuba, Art Corps is a group of roughly 10,000 fans of Korean popular culture, a festival featuring Cuban films took place in Seoul in 2022. Back on the diplomatic front, the South Korean government stepped up efforts to build ties with Cuba at the Association of Caribbean States summit last May. It's known that they did so very secretly in order to avoid provoking any North Korean attempts at sabotage. From Havana's side, they seem to have been interested in deeper economic and cultural exchanges with the South. Seoul's foreign ministries expressed that formal relations with Cuba will now mark a crucial turning point, as South Korea is reportedly interested in the potential benefits for its medical and tourism industries as it aims to further expand its diplomatic horizons.